Hi, good evening. Welcome to Talking Scot. I'm Scott Monroe, and welcome. I was thinking about doing this for a long, long time now, and I had the balls to do it probably a couple of weeks ago. I come up with the idea, and I'm with my first guest, Richard Kharman. How are you, Richard?
I'm doing well, man. I'm doing well. First guest, get to pop the cherry. I like it, man. How are you doing?
Yeah, all good. It's a Monday evening here. How is it in DC, Washington at the moment? Is it all good?
It's all good. Yeah, it's the weather's nice. It's spring has just sprung, I guess, if you want to say that. The weather's been nice. It hasn't been too hot, not too cold, just the right temperature. Rains a lot, but I guess I shouldn't complain compared to where you're from, right? But it's been good. It's been good. I've been fortunate to be outside a lot in the last week or so I can't complain really. How about you?
It was 22 degrees 2 weeks ago, and then it started snowing last week.
Oh,
so
wow.
from the extremities of ridiculously hot for late March, early April to really, really cold in the space of 8-9 days. And the cricket season started here in the UK last week,
Okay.
so the county cricket season, and there was 3 or 4 games stopped for snow, which was amazing.
Wow.
It's just brilliant.
Wow, that's crazy. I mean, we get those, we call them Indian summers here, but we get really hot days and cold nights. But thankfully, no snow. I'm glad that's over with, honestly.
My first guest, and I've been on your podcast 5, maybe 6 times now.
Something like that. Yeah, a lot.
Yeah. So Sarah, sit down. Tell me about it. When did you guys come up with the idea of doing an Italian football podcast?
So many years ago, it seems like now. We're like one of the grandfathers now. We're on our 5th season now of Serie Sit Down. It was, I want to say, 2016, I guess. I can't keep track of the years. World Football Index, who we're still a part of, they asked us they want to do a Serie A podcast, and they asked both myself and Frank if we were interested. And at the time, we said, yeah, why not? You know, we want to. There wasn't much calcio talk. There's a couple around, but we wanted to certainly have our say, I guess. And we started off with like a ragtag group of like 4 or 5 people, and 30 years of people have come and gone. But Frank and I have been through it from the beginning. Like I said, on our 5th season now, and what we tell people is that we are a recap show on steroids. We talk every game as in depth as we can. That's 20 teams, 10 games a weekend or a week, match a week. It gets a lot, so you got to pay attention. You can't really have an off week and off day, miss a game, because we got to talk about it. And then plus you got the European games and the cup games, so it's quite a lot. Our podcasts are very long. We started out, they used to be about 2 hours long each, and now they're about 1.5 hours to 2 hours long, depending on what's going on. So, yeah, we've been doing it for a while, a long time now.
I can vouch for that, because do you remember the Christmas time 2019? I joined both you and Frank for I would say it was an end of year awards for the whole year of 2019.
Yep.
And I think we talked for about 2.5 hours.
Yeah. We like to talk, and we could really talk all day. We could probably talk every day, but we have full-time jobs, so we can't do that. But calcio is always something to talk about with the drama on or off the pitch.
Like as you said, since 2016, you guys have done an absolutely amazing job. I've been there.
Thank you.
About 5 or 6 times. Really, all the time I've been on it. Like you guys have just absolutely blew up on like social media. Did you expect it?
No, honestly, I thought when we first started doing podcasts, they're like, hey, it'd be us and maybe some of our friends and family members would hear it. And then, I think looking at the latest numbers that we've had, we're in over 100 countries. And it's just amazing where people listen to from. It's really humbling, honestly. So it's really fortunate that people enjoy listening to us, rants every week. And couldn't be more thankful to people who listen. We got some devoted followers, so we're thankful for them for sure, 100%.
I know it's good for me, like, because I'm working from home. I listen to quite a lot of podcasts, so I can stick you guys on and just literally crack on with my work from home, and it's just brilliant to listen to you guys. I listen to, I think it's like 30 podcasts all about sport and TV, so it just gets me through the day. And you guys are like one of the top podcasts I listen to.
Thank you, appreciate that. That's very
I
kind.
want to ask you, who came up with the Who Won Calcio tweet? Oh no, it's all right for you.
Who came up with Who Won Calcio Twitter? That's a good question. I think Frank did the actual wording of it. I think we noticed that people were being very funny, and we're like, hey, let's try to focus this into a hashtag. And I think we came out with Frank came out with Who Won Calcio Twitter. But we noticed that there's so many funny takes in Calcio, especially after a big game. Rival fan bases go after each other, and so we kind of started that thing, and it's been snowballing ever since. And we just had our tweet, recently we had I guess over the winter break, we had the tweets of the year, and actually one that was a Roma fan that won. Just, fan bases that are known for heartache, they can have some of the greatest tweets. And so it's just to capture that and be able to laugh at it every week. It's really therapeutic to laugh like we can for Calcio, week in and week out.
Then do it, because some of the stuff that comes in week after week is brilliant. Especially Art Morelli. Some of his stuff is just, oh my god, it's unbelievable.
He won last night, actually. He just actually won last night.
Last night. Yeah, I watched the bit of it earlier during my lunch break. Space for Star Wars and Juventus. Oh, absolute genius. It was so funny. I couldn't stop laughing.
Top notch. I mean, you really got to watch the video and read the words at the same time, because it's like perfect. I mean, it's great. It's really great that he does. And he and there's several others that, stick out. A lot of Interisti are very, very funny, and Roma fans as well. So it's you start seeing who the funny ones are, and then sometimes random people just pop in there, and it's awesome. And I have a blast every week doing it.
I'm just waiting to win. I think I've done about 4 or 5. I'm just waiting.
Hey, I'm just waiting to get nominated. I barely get nominated, so you're step ahead of me. So
I thought the Cagliari Atalanta one, the Cagata one, will get.
Cagata, I did like that one a lot. That was funny. That was funny.
I was hoping to wake up and just see. I was hoping to get. Yeah, that was brilliant. I was like, Connor Clancy, like, quote tweeted.
Yeah.
And I was just thinking, oh, please.
And it's hard. Sometimes you think there's really good ones that should win, and then people pop in all the time.
Yeah, it should. It's a brilliant concept, and you guys have like ran with it, taken your ball and just gone on to another level. My next question, for your sins, you're an AC Milan fan.
Yeah, right there.
I'm a Roma fan, and
I'm representing Roma Club DC today.
You're wearing a Roma DC top, which we were talking about earlier.
Yeah.
When was your first love of AC Milan? How old were you when?
I was certainly in high school. I was in high school. I want to say it was 95 or 96. And it was really the colors that really drew me to them. I mean, over here stateside, we don't get much coverage of European football unless it's Champions League or something like that. And so it was them in a Champions League match that I remember seeing them. And I remember seeing the colors and like, oh, this color is amazing. I'm going to follow this team. I don't know who they are. And as the years go on, you obviously learn about the club. But yeah, it was mid-90s when I first started following Milan.
Wow, during that time it was fantastic. We used to get Italian football on Channel 4, so it was on terrestrial TV over here. Right. And you just used to see it all the time. It was just amazing. And you just like, we didn't see that when I was watching football in the mid-90s. It's like, I grew up on Premier Premier League football, like Championship football.
Yeah.
Like, it was called other names in the past, but when we used to watch Italian football and maybe even Spanish football, because that was used to be on Sky, you're drawn into that colour, and you're thinking, oh, that's something. That's some games here before in the UK, and you're just drawn to the lights of Italian football.
Yeah, no, it was something amazing to watch, and especially with the teams that they had back then. I mean, my goodness, the top quality teams and top quality players, they all flocked the city out. It was amazing to watch back then.
It was. Did you have any heroes when you started watching AC Milan? Did you have any like star players that you wanted to? If you ever got a Milan jersey, would you want to have on your back?
Yeah, I mean, obviously the names, Baggio was one of the first Italian players that I seen, and I fell in love with him from '94 World Cups when I first saw him, and obviously Maldini, and so many great players. I mean, the Dutch trio that was around back then as well. George Weah when he was with the team as well. I mean, so many players I would have loved to have jerseys with. And funny enough, it wasn't until like early 2000s where I figured out how I could get jerseys on a frequent basis. So I guess I should go back and start buying some old stuff. I have actually a Shevchenko jersey from early 2000s and a Baggio jersey when he was at Milan. So those are my oldest jerseys I have. And I actually have a Batistuta jersey from Fiorentina somewhere here. But yeah, it's there are several players that I followed and wanted jerseys of. But I think it all started with Baggio in the '94 World Cup.
The divine ponytail. I imagine his sad penalty miss in the World Cup final still sits with you.
Yeah. No, it is
27 years later.
Yeah. And it's not, for me, it's not that, Italy lost. I feel more for him in that moment, because what a great player he was. He was basically on one leg in that tournament. And, for him to lose it like that, it's tough for him. I mean, wins and losses happen, but you feel for that player, because I think everyone knows how great a player he is, but he would have even got even more acclaim had, they won the World Cup that year. So, it's tough for him, but it's certainly a memory that I'll never forget. No doubt.
No, it's like 94 was the first year I got into football, and I remember recording that World Cup final in USA. It was at Pasadena, wasn't it? So
yes,
it was like early hours. I remember getting up early and watching it. It must have been seven and a half. It's just like It's a memory that sticks with you for a lifetime.
It's funny. 94 World Cup wasn't even my first tournament, so it's funny. I started, like, my family, my mother's side is half Paraguayan, and so Paraguay was never really good in European or international football. So we kind of always followed what Argentina did, right? And so I remember the '86 and '90 World Cups vividly, because we would watch Maradona at the house. But I didn't mind them, but it wasn't until early '90s when I started adopting Italy, because Italy I just loved all the players. Obviously Baggio was a big cause of that, and just loved everything Italian, and so wanted to immerse myself as much with that as possible, and following the national team was the way to do it.
That got me into football when I was 7, so it got me into it, and I've been going to watch football games with him since '94.
Wow.
The one thing I would love to go with him is watch Scotland games, because he's Scottish, and I had chances, tried to get tickets for him to go watch Scotland games, but it was quite hard to get him. But going with him to watch Swindon games is enough for me. And when you go with family and your friends to watch games, it's brilliant, and the camaraderie you get is just fantastic.
Yeah, I'm getting that now with DC United, because I got season tickets with them. Oh, I did. I haven't been to a game in a while because of this whole pandemic. But yeah, I know the feeling what you're talking about.
That recorded the DC United. Is it all? Is it always? Sorry, I think we might have cut out. Is it any?
Yeah, we're good.
Is it always been? Yeah, I think we might have just cut out a little bit. Damn,
Right.
StreamYard. It always happens when I'm. And it's technology. Got it the other week when I was recording a podcast with the Magic Cast. Oh, it's a nightmare. Has it always been DC United for you in the MLS? I know you've gone to games and we talked about it before. Has it always been them? Yeah.
It has. I've been, ever since they became a team in 95, 96, whatever. I was like, okay, it's a team, local team. I'm going to support them, and I've been following them throughout their whole career. And yeah, it's always been DC United for me through the ups and many, many downs. I've always been DC United for sure. Hey, and their colors are very similar to AC Milan, so that kind of helped me as well, right?
Yeah. I think I remember talking to you a couple of years ago about when Wayne Rooney came over. Weren't you in the stadium when he did that massive, fantastic last-ditch challenge and then pinged a 50-yard diagonal for, was it Morales to score in the last minute?
It was Acosta that got the last-minute goal. But yeah, it was. I was at that game. It was a brilliant play. I mean, Rooney, you guys are benefit that you get to see him, week in and week out, and the quality of MLS is not quite as the Premiership, obviously. So having a player of his quality, his caliber come to MLS, you can see instantly what kind of impact he had. We see that with Thierry Henry and Zlatan and other guys who've come over. The quality is just so much better than everybody there. And I remember he was just a catalyst for the team. He was really the single reason why the team was good during his reign here. Obviously, he left and the team tanked already. So he's been like the single reason, because he's just been everyone's game improved because of him. And I remember that goal you're talking about where we had pulled the goalie. We're trying to tie the game, or we're trying to win the game because we need to get into the playoffs. The goalie was up. And all of a sudden, Orlando gets the ball. They're going down the pitch, and Rooney's the last person, and looks like they're going to score. And he makes a great tackle, and then gets up quickly, and then launches that long ball, and Acosta backdoor with a goal and dying in extra time. Was a fantastic way to end it. And I remember it was so controversial because they thought maybe Acosta was offside. And so Rooney wasn't celebrating, everybody else was, and then they finally went to VAR and it proved that he was onside, and it was just a great moment. Probably the best in-person game I've ever been to in any sport, honestly.
Oh wow, yeah, I remember the clip went viral all over social media, and the next day I think quite a few of us in the office I work in pre-COVID were talking about it, because we all talk about football, and like some of the lads in the office, and we're just talking about that. It's just like, whoa, you seen this? It went mental, and it went viral, like proper viral. Yeah, I think the MLS account just got so many retweets about it. What was it? As you said, what was it to witness it?
It
must have been
amazing,
absolutely phenomenal.
It's because that game meant so much, and the game started out poorly for DC, where they looked like they were just going to give that game away, and slowly they came back into the game, and everyone knew that they needed to win to get into the playoffs. And I mean, when you saw that empty goal that Orlando's trying to score, and you're like, oh my goodness, they're going to win the game and end it this way. It's going to be heartbreak. And then just to see Rooney do what he did and get that goal, it was just unbelievable. I mean, we all stayed at that stadium probably 30 minutes after that game ended, because we were just celebrating with the players. The stadium there is nice because you're very close. It's very European-like, and you're very close to the field. And it was just such an amazing moment. I mean, I don't even know what the temperature was like or what was like. I remember the game, and it was just such a fond memory. I mean, I went nuts. I lost my voice, no doubt.
Is part and parcel. Like every game I've been to, the majority, you go home with a sore throat, and it's
yeah. I never thought I'd sing as much as I had been in games. Because am I the only one on the show now? It looks like this is my show, huh? Did I kick him out somehow? Oh, there he is. I thought this was my podcast for a second there, Scott.
We lost you.
I'm back.
Again, love streaming. You said about losing your voice.
Yeah, I was saying that I never thought when I go to the games I'd be one of the ones who's singing all game long, but it happened. I mean, DC's fan base needs to learn more songs from European football. We sang the same 5 songs all game long. It's really annoying, but yeah, you lose your voice. This every game could be the most boring game, but you're singing your heart out every game, and then you go home with a sore throat. But that game in particular, when Rooney set up that goal, it was more out of exuberance more than anything, more than singing in that game. So yeah,
I don't blame you for that. Do you guys like? Do you sit in the guys who have the drumming?
Do we have drummers at our games? Is what you're asking?
Yeah, when you went to the games, do you have drums? Because I know it's part.
Yeah, that's been kind of the one of the historical things with DC United. They've always had drums at their games, and they started that at RFK Stadium, the old Washington Redskins Stadium, and they brought it over to the new stadium. So there's at least, I want to say, 3 big drums and then several other drums and all kinds of instruments sprinkled throughout the fan base. But yeah, there's definitely drums in the games, and now they're starting to get into the. I mean, the atmosphere isn't quite like to maybe Atlanta or some of these other parks like Seattle, but it's pretty good. It's pretty good for a small area. I wish the rest of the stadium. Washington is just like it's a funny location to celebrate sports. It's very fair weather, it seems like, so it's not as concentrated as other areas. But the atmosphere that they bring is still pretty good.
For you guys to travel to away games, because you could be on a plane for 3-4 hours, like going from DC to parts other.
Yeah, traveling in the United States is a bit difficult. It's not as easy and as cheap as it is in Europe. So I really don't do much traveling there. I know people, when they do travel, they travel along the East Coast sides. I didn't travel. I went to go watch New York City NYCFC against I think Montreal game back when Thierry Henry was there, and that was fun. Pirlo was there as well. Lampard was there for NYC. So I did get to go see that. Met a bunch of Milan fans up there. But it was it's hard to travel. I mean, I will do it once we get back to the action, go back to Philadelphia and New York and some of these other places, because I have friends in all these cities, and so it'd be nice just to visit them and watch a game while we're at it,
And we travel here in the UK. We can go by car or by train.
Yeah,
and it's like an hour away tops, like from Swindon, so it's like an hour to Paddington, London, and it's like we can catch the tube. But for you guys, if it's like somewhere on the west coast and you're on 6 hours, maybe on a plane.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it takes an hour to go to Baltimore, which is still in the same state for me, which I would drive there. It takes just as long to drive as does it fly. So yeah, flying is very difficult. You have to make it almost a weekend affair if you're going to go do that.
Yeah. You have to take 3 days off work just to watch one game of football.
One game.
Definitely. One game would take like 3 or 4 days off work. Can I have like 4 days off work? Just
watch one game.
An MLS away day.
Yeah.
To watch a game. Milan to watch AC Milan either in the States, or you have been to Milan to watch a game yourself?
Yeah, so I did see Milan when they played DC United many, many years ago. I remember getting a picture with Clarence Seedorf while he was here, or while the team was here. And I also seen Milan. Yeah, he's phenomenal. A very underrated player. He's such a brilliant player. And I've also been to Milan, to San Siro, and to watch Milan play when they had Allegri. So they're the year after they won the Scudetto, I was there. And so it was. It's a massive stadium. I love that's. It's a brilliant stadium. I recommend anyone who's a football fan in general just to go to that stadium. And I had some crazy experience as well as in Europe, but getting to go watch a game at San Siro was on top of that list for sure.
I would advise anyone who likes Italian football just to go out. You will get some crazy stories. I got lost in my first after the game, and that gets you like panic stricken, and I'm thinking, oh my god, am I going to get home and stuff like that. Have you had any trouble with?
I had that in Milan actually. I remember it was after the game, and the game, and it was one of the late games. Yeah, the game ended like 10:45 p.m. local time, and I remember getting out of the game, and I remember asking beforehand, how hard is it to get a taxi? And they're like, oh, it's not hard at all. You go to this area and you'll get it. I went to that area, no taxis around whatsoever. It was a Sunday night. All the shops, all the restaurants were closed, and I'm like, oh my god, how am I gonna get home? I don't have anyone's number. I don't have this and that. And I was like, I'm gonna have to sleep on the bus stop here until the morning, until the stores open back up. And luckily, there were some Americans at the local restaurant. They stayed open late because of the Americans. They kept them open, and I was able to get a taxi that way. But I mean, it was pouring rain too, so I was drenched. I ended up getting the flu from that experience as well because of all that. But hey, it was all worth it because I got to see Milan play. But yeah. What a crazy night in Milan. I thought it was going to look like one of the homeless people sitting on the benches all night long in the pouring rain.
Yeah, like people do have these crazy experiences when they go abroad to watch football. I've had a couple where going into Rome where like you get lost and it's you have this moment of panic stricken all over because you're a foreigner in a different country and you don't know what's going on. Like a couple of years ago, I went to the Real Madrid game, and it took us like nearly 2 hours to get into the stadium, and I almost missed kickoff just because it was just utterly mental, just trying to get in. And like I think one of the roads was shut one time I went there, and it was like hard time to get directions into to my hotel. But it's a crazy experience, and it's an experience that you're actually you're glad that you've done it because it gives you life experience and gives you like experience in a different country. Yeah,
exactly. And when I was in Italy, I mean, I know the language too, and I was still having trouble finding, getting what I needed or going where I needed to go. And so, it was an experience I'll never forget. At the time, I didn't think I'd like it, but looking back, it was all worth it. I mean, I'll never forget that story. I'll never forget that time because of everything that happened that night and that week while I was in Milan. So.
Yes, I did mention this earlier. Probably the final football topic I probably wanted to talk to you about. Schalke. How did that come about?
Yeah, so well, first the support for the team that came about like we didn't have much Bundesliga. We barely had any kind of European football coverage. But in the early 2000s, mid 2000s maybe. I think between 2003 2005, we have Goal TV here, and so Ray Hudson and Phil Shane, they were commentators for it, and they finally got Bundesliga. And I remember the first game I'm watching this team that was at home was Royal Blue colors, and they were playing against Leverkusen. I didn't know much about either team, but I remember the flags, the amount of flags by the fans was just amazing. I'd never seen something like that before, and I was like, I'm going to support this blue team. I don't know who they are. I don't know anything about them, but it's just an amazing atmosphere. That game ended up being like 7-4 for Schalke or something crazy. It was an amazing game, and I've been following Schalke ever since. That. Yeah, and I've been a Schalke fan ever since. And then now I have a Schalke podcast, the only English Schalke podcast in the world, Schalke America. So it's funny because 2016 we started up Serie A Sit Down, and then so about a year into that, I'm like, I've been doing podcasts for a while. I'm looking for a Shaka Podcast. Don't see any around. Let me start one up. Started one up, and it's been a blast ever since. We're 4 seasons in now for Shaka America, and it's been really fun. Get to collaborate with the team a lot, getting some interviews with some players and some commentators and reporters, and it's been a blast. That's been also another trip that I didn't expect at all, and to have a fan base now with the Shaka. It's taken us 4 years, but now the German fans are starting to appreciate us because we've stuck around. We're not just there for the one and done. So now that we've been there for several years, people are respecting us now more, and we're getting a lot of love in Germany.
You're getting quite a lot of love on social media with both your podcasts on the content, trying to get players for Schalke. Have you found it quite hard, or you found it quite easy?
It seems harder. It's harder because you think it'd be easier because it's a team specific, right? But being that we're in the States, away from we watch games at different times, so when we're reporting, it's late at night for Europeans. So it's been hard in that respect, but what we have noticed is that there are a lot of English-speaking Schalke fans, and so that community has really been tight-knit because we're always looking for other people who don't maybe speak German or speak German as well, and they want to follow us team, and so we're that outlet that people can, hey, I can follow this team, learn about this team, follow them with an English voice, so I can understand what's going on. And I think it's helped a lot of people, and because of that, actually, we've actually linked up a lot of the German podcast and YouTube sites because they've seen what we've done, and we can collaborate best we can, whether they're English or our bad German. We figure ways out to communicate with each other and collaborate. So it's been really fun, hard but fun.
Have you? Yeah, I want to talk to try and get some players and stuff like that, and so if I ever get the chance, that would be amazing. Have you? Who is the best person you've interviewed for the Schalke US podcast?
That's a good one. Derek Ray was that was amazing to do. He's such a gentleman. Oh, yeah. We got to talk all kinds of things. We even talked about FIFA with him. He is amazing. He is amazing. I mean, we've had a lot of great people like I'm gonna forget some names now. Bonnie's been on the show. We've had a bunch of reporters that have been really amazing too. But I think Derek Ray's been the cream of the crop, I think, so far for us, just because of what kind of person he is. It's so nice. And it was so appreciative. I mean, we've had to, all the guests have been great, but I think he just stuck out because we knew about him for years. We've heard his voice. He's got a magical voice for telecasting, broadcasting, and to give us the time. We told him we're going to give him like 30 minutes for an interview. We ended up going like over an hour, and he was so kind about it. He's like, "Yeah, this is great. No worries. Keep going. Let's go." I was like, "Okay, this is amazing." So that's probably been our most favorite interview, I think, so far.
I'd tell you, he's a very good follow on Twitter. He's probably the fountain of knowledge for all things football, for Scottish football, for European football, and especially German football. And he's all FIFA.
Yeah, he's the voice of FIFA.
Difficult. Yeah. So, do you think you could be like taking this podcast even further?
I mean, in the sense that maybe do more with like YouTube videos and stuff like that. Yes, I think we're certainly looking at that. How much further are we going to go? I don't know. Depends on if the following's there for either Serie A Sit Down or Shaka. But I think definitely do more videos on YouTube. Trying to reach out to Instagram and stuff like that. Do more, broaden our roots, I guess, if you will. I think we're certainly going to do that. How much more? It just depends. We're just going with the flow, and if the situation calls for us to do a little bit more, we will. I would. A part of me wants to, at least with Shaka, is link it with the team and go to Gelsenkirchen and maybe do some things with the players and the coaching staff and stuff like that. That'd be amazing to do. Really get some on-site experience, but we'll see. And then also with Serie A sit down, going to Europe eventually and watching some games and bringing some podcasts live from the road would be amazing. We talked about doing podcasts from a bar in different locations would be fun to do too. So we'll see.
That's a good concept to do, like podcasts on the road like that. Are you a bit scared to talk a bit in the German Bundesliga?
Say that again. Let's see, the current climate, because it's quite poor. You're a bit unnervy, like you could be talking about Bundesliga's fine next season for your Schalke. I've come to the realization that the club is going to be in the second league next year, and so I'm already okay with it. I know it's going to happen. At this point, it's just ending the season on a strong note, so you take that momentum into next year. It's going to happen, and the only thing that worries me is the state of the club in next season. Are they going to be able to recruit and get better and play better football and then be challenging a promotion spot? Or is this going to be a spiral like Kaiserslautern and some of these other teams throughout the years, Portsmouth, who were once at the pinnacle, Hamburg, who once up at the pinnacle and then slowly slid their way down in history. So that's the scary part, because we're not sure with the management and everything how it is and the players. We don't know what's gonna entail. Sunderland's another one, right? So we'll see. That's the worrying part. I'm relaxed to play in the second league next year because I think they deserve to be in the second league. But just not knowing what the future holds for the club is the worrying part for sure.
Yeah, I agree. When you know you're in trouble in league lower down, you come to the realization that I'm okay with it, and I've got to get on with it as a fan.
Yeah, I mean, Shaka are like 12 points, no more than that, 18 points behind, I think, from the relegation playoff safety spot. I mean, it's all but guaranteed at this point.
Over. You're a connoisseur of languages. How many languages can you speak now?
I speak about 9 languages of varying levels. It's anything from obviously English, but then into some of the Romantic languages and even some of the Germanic languages as well. And then I'd like to also get into Arabic and Japanese here very soon. So it's been fun learning them. I think Italian kicked it all off for me. I mean, I grew up with Spanish, but wanting to learn and teach myself Italian really kind of kickstarted everything else, and then everything else came easier and easier to me. I found a method that worked for me and just continued on that method. So 9 languages and counting. So hopefully I can eventually increase that number. I've been stuck on that number for a while. Obviously it's a lot number and you got to practice a lot to not forget. But nonetheless, I have some languages in mind I want to learn next, and it's going to hopefully get there sooner than later.
I imagine Spanish were French or German, so I imagine Spanish was like one of the main languages to learn in school over in the US.
Yes, Spanish certainly was, and I also grew up with that with my mother teaching me Spanish as well, and half her family is from South America, so I had a lot of practice with that growing up. And in my school, at least, it was Spanish or French, and I went Spanish just because it was the easier way to do it at the time. I wasn't really interested in languages at that time, but when I started learning Italian, I think is when it really kicked off. I mean, I've only been on this language kick since probably mid 2000s. So I mean, I've learned all my languages as an adult, but yeah, I think to have a passion helps a long way with learning anything. If you don't have the passion for it, you're never going to learn it easy. Luckily for me, I learned that passion because of Italian football, Italian culture, and then it's really sprung board ever since. So yeah, I've been fortunate, and hopefully I just can keep on that track, and amongst the other million things I'm doing day in and day out, right?
Especially with lockdown, you can learn stuff like that. I tried to do learn a bit more Italian last year, and I found it quite helpful with that, Duolingo, that. But part of me thinks I should have learned a bit more when I was younger, like back in school. So I learned French in school.
Okay.
And I wish I learned a bit more and just got that a bit further. My mum can as well. When I was like 5, probably between 5 and 10, I didn't learn the language. At night, whenever I get the chance to go, I'm aiming to learn a bit more. That would be brilliant. So what languages can you actually speak?
All right, so let's see. English, Spanish, Italian, German, French, Russian, Dutch, Portuguese, Catalan. I think that's it. Yeah, I think that's 9. That's 9. Like I said, I'm studying Arabic now and Japanese. But I also want to get into Chinese as well. But yeah, I think, while it helps to start when you're a younger age, with today's technology, you can learn from anywhere. And, you got YouTube videos, Duolingo, all these programs as well. There's this guy, a gentleman, I don't know him, unfortunately, but his name's Steve Kaufman. He started learning languages in his 50s, and he's up to like around 20 languages he knows. I know a guy who's really the godfather of languages, one of the godfathers of languages in the polyglot community. His name is Richard Simcott. He's a British gentleman, and he's learned over 20 languages fluently. I mean, he's an amazing specimen. I think he currently lives in Macedonia or something. So it can be done. It just, with today's technology, it helps, and it helps you because to learn better, you have to speak it. That's the best way to do it. And with today's technology, you can do Skype or doing like we're doing it here on YouTube or whatever, watch videos, and it's much easier now. But it takes a lot of effort, practice. You have to put the hours in. That's what you have to do, basically. And I would recommend you and anyone else who wants to learn, put the time in, man.
Oh God. Gotcha. Timing just for the reward at the end. It's like I've like, oh, one of my, you're like the godfather of language. Whenever I've talked to you on podcasts, we talk about languages, and it's
fascinating. It is, yeah.
Just like we're amazed. It's amazing. Like it's phenomenal. Will you be like teaching your son any?
Yeah. I started teaching him Italian from the beginning. In the beginning. So he learned how to say water in Italian before he learned to say water in English. And then it became a problem when he was at daycare. He's asking people in Italian, and they're like, "What? What are you talking about?" But I've been lazy lately just because I've been so amazed at his growth. I've been forgetting to speak Italian to him. I just speak English. But yeah, I will be teaching him more. And I think, I was gonna say something. I don't remember what I was gonna say now about that. I don't know. I don't remember, but anyway, it'll come back to me. Yeah, I've been trying to teach him. He hears a lot of German in the house as well because I speak to the dog. The dog's only German commands, and so he hears a lot of German as well. So he's been saying really? nine and zits. It's pretty funny. Yeah, my dog's German, so I was like, we'll teach him German, and why not? So yeah, it's been fun. It's been fun. Yeah. Oh, I remember what I was going to say. Languages, what the neat part about languages is it opens you up to the rest of the world, and you really get to see people, how people live through their eyes and through their language, their culture. And that's been the best part, I think, of all of that, of this whole thing of learning languages. It's opened me up to so many different things and experiences that I never could imagine. So
totally agree with that, Richard. It's absolutely spot on, because you can see like other people in their eyes. It's like you can speak to people in different languages. Like, I love going to America, or like pre-pandemic, and like they go, "Oh, you're from England." Like, if you ever get the chance, learn more languages, and it will help you in the better run later on in life. And it's like, I completely agree with what you've done, Richard. Like 9 languages, it's just phenomenal.
Yeah, it all snowballed. I mean, it happened. It went from one language. Yeah, it went from like 2 languages to like 9, and like within a matter of years, and like it just happened so fast. It started snowballing. You don't even think about it, and you're like, oh my goodness, I actually know all these languages now. I'm like, whoa. So yeah, it's been a trip. It's been a fun trip for sure.
Thank you very much for joining me. That's probably the end of what I had to just talk. I just, like, 45 to 50 minutes was all I wanted to talk to you about. Do you want any plugs for your social medias and for your podcast as well?
You can see my name. Oh, there it is, right there. R_KHARMAN. That's you can follow me anywhere on social media, and then my podcast, Seria Sit Down, is where you can follow them. Also, on any social media, including YouTube, and then also Shaka America. So that's Shaka MERICA. At Shaka America, same thing, all social medias, on YouTube as well. So definitely give those a follow. But if you follow me nonetheless, you can find everything else. So there you go, do that, and then you can find wherever else I'm listening to. So
yeah, I do command to follow. Interact with a lot of people when he gets the chance. And it's good. You can follow me on all the socials. Just follow me. I think it's Scott Munro 1987 or 80.
You got me.
87. I don't. Twitter it can be toxic quite.
Yes, it can.
Sometimes, but yeah, no more. Richard, thank you very much for joining me and being my first guest. We've talked quite a lot before. Yeah.
Thank you for having me on as your first guest. I'm thrilled that I got this opportunity, and the pleasure's all mine.
No worries. Thank you very much, and ciao.
Ciao.